What will CJ Stroud be like when he comes back? When will he come back? We got some history on that, as well as the history of the trap game. A lot of people already putting the Texans at 5-5. Let's take a look at why you might not want to do that so quickly. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize everything.
Alive, looking at 5-5. That's the situation the Texans are facing. But should they be anticipating some sort of trap? It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. This video is provided by Sleeper, the greatest sports app in the game, the greatest scoring app in the game, the greatest daily fantasy thing in the game. And if you've never played that game, I got a treat for you. $20 free entry, no deposit needed. Get 100% match up to $100 when you use the promo code Locker. If you don't want to play the game, if you're hesitant for whatever reason, first of all, I don't know what's wrong with you. It makes every game more fun. Second of all, just use it as your scoring app. It's way better than the one that you've gotten used to. That company has cut a lot of corners, and quite frankly, I don't think they can be trusted in many areas. So go ahead and get that done. Trust me, you will not regret it. So let's talk about CJ Stroud. Tomorrow, the Texans return to practice, and CJ Stroud tomorrow, when I'm at practice, we're going to be looking to see, is CJ Stroud back on the field? That's going to be step one. Step two is going to be, does he have any clear visual limitations? A lot of times they put like a red thing on your helmet to where you can't be touched. Concussion protocol can be somewhat, it can be somewhat confusing at times, but you'll be looking at that to get clues as to what step is he in the concussion protocol, and will you see CJ Stroud? There's some other guys that you'll be looking for as well. And normally on Wednesdays, the quarterback speaks. Tomorrow, the quarterback's not speaking. It has nothing to do with concussion protocol. It's because D'Amico Ryans has to attend a funeral. So they moved the coordinators back to Wednesday, and D'Amico and CJ are going to go later on in the week. So don't read too much into that. When it comes to whether CJ Stroud will or will not play. This was planned after D'Amico found out he was going to have to speak at his best friend's funeral. So that's what we'll be looking at on Wednesday. We'll also be looking to see if Titus Howard returns to the practice field. We'll be looking to see if Jalen Petrie returns to the practice field. I think two names to watch for potentially on the injury report, and I don't know how serious they would be two guys that were a big part of the win, Davis Mills and Trent Brown. Now, Davis Mills, he was able to finish the game, but he did have the sleeve on his left arm, and there was a big-ass welt. So when the adrenaline's going and everything's going, it's probably easier to manage that. But sometimes you see that stuff swell up, and you see it actually get more painful for guys throughout the week. So could we see Davis Mills, a participant with elbow or something like that? Perhaps. Trent Brown, we're looking at that right foot. He got an X-ray on the right foot, so we'll be keeping an eye on Trent Brown. It appears he's walking. I'll be honest, the way that Trent Brown walks, it always looks like he's in a little bit of a pain. And I mean, if I were 6'8", 400 pounds, I probably would be walking too smoothly, especially after an 80 snap performance or whatever the hell that was. So keep an eye on those. I don't think there's anything in jeopardy or any concerns that Davis Mills is like not going to play. I could just see him appearing on the injury report with the elbow. You'll see the name. I wouldn't read too much into it, but he clearly has something on the elbow. The Trent Brown thing, I definitely think you should probably keep an eye on. But all eyes are going to be on CJ Stroud when he gets back, and it's going to be CJ watch. And I have a couple of questions when it comes to CJ Stroud. Number one, can the offense build on the fourth quarter of the Jags game? The answer's got to be no, right? I don't anticipate Davis Mills, despite putting on the best quarterback performance of the season, I don't anticipate Davis Mills playing like that maybe ever again. And if CJ Stroud's going to be in, does what they did in the red zone, where they were the worst team in the league with CJ, does that suddenly improve when CJ takes over for Davis Mills? My answer would be I don't think so. Like, can it get better? Yeah, than it was. It was the worst in the league by far, but we're talking 3 for 3 with 3 must-score touchdowns. I don't know that the momentum has anything to do with what happens when CJ Stroud comes back in. Maybe it gets better, but if it gets better, it's going to get better, and it's not going to have anything to do with what they did against the Jags. I think the defense can build on what they did against the Jags because it's going to be the same defense. But the offense, it's going to be a different quarterback. CJ and Davis are kind of different players. CJ's obviously the better player. They function differently pre-snap. They function differently during the play. I saw Davis Mills was pressured nearly half the time. I think it was I'm not a pressure guy, but I think it was the highest pressure rate of the season, and he was still able to do what he did. And I don't know that the offensive line is going to be the same either. And I also can't really trust Nick Caley to stack up good games. So as far as the offensive performance that they put together against the Jags, I don't know that it really has a damn thing to do with anything moving forward. It all that did was it allowed you a chance to survive. It allowed you a chance to extend your season. It allowed you a chance to get in the playoff picture. And quite frankly, if you beat the Titans, no matter what it looks like, you're sitting pretty because there's a lot of games. This is the best localized week of football that maybe all season long that we're going to see. You're going to see teams right above you that are playing very losable games. If you win this game, and it's going to be short-lived because 4 games after that, you host the Buffalo Bills. But if you win this game and then a couple of things go your way, and there's a couple of matchups like the Jags and Chargers where it's a win-win situation. If you win a couple of these games, or you win this game and then a couple of these things go, then you're sitting really pretty and you're kind of feeling pretty good about yourself with Buffalo coming into town. And that's not even to mention that Buffalo, they have Tampa Bay going to their place. Tampa Bay, good, capable football team, much better than the Miami team that Buffalo played last week. Small underdog. If somehow Tampa Bay wins that game and the Texans beat the Titans, then the Texans will be playing the Bills with a chance to tie them in the standings, which is absolutely insane to even think about. The Jags, who were a few games up on you a few weeks ago, if you win against the Titans and then the Chargers beat the Jags, that puts you right there tied with the Jags. Chargers, you'll be 1 game behind the Chargers if the Jags win. So that's a win-win situation. And then you look at the Chiefs and the Broncos. Broncos are getting points at home despite how, and they've looked pretty unimpressive. But if the Broncos are able to beat the Chiefs and the Texans are able to take care of business against the Titans, then you have the same record as the Chiefs. So this could be a very, very, very productive week. But to answer the previous question, I don't think that the offensive performance, the fourth quarter, has a damn thing to do with what the Texans will be doing moving forward. I think the concerns that you had about the offense before, I think they should still exist. I don't think they should be eliminated because of all the magic that happened in the fourth quarter. So that's where I'm at on that. The other thing is, I don't know that you necessarily can just chalk down a win for the Texans. I've had this argument with Cody Stoots, and he just doesn't see any chance in hell that the Texans can lose to the Titans. Look, I agree the Titans suck. They got the dumbest owner in sports, Amy Adams Stank. They got a quarterback number 1 overall that is a fumbling machine even when he's not getting pressured. He happens to play behind an offensive line that's almost as bad as what the Texans have. The weapons aren't great. The defense isn't awesome. They got Jeffrey Simmons who kind of wreaks havoc. But stranger things have happened. And you really don't have to go too far back for stranger things to look at things that have happened when it comes to trap games in the NFL. We just saw Miami tap the brakes off of Buffalo. That might be a little bit different situation, but we can go back to last season when the Texans took on the Titans. Will Levis and company, 2-win team. No idea how Will Levis was still playing. A lot of people wanted him benched. They go to Houston and they beat the Texans, who were atop the division. Trap game. 7. I think the line was 7.5. The line this week is 7. So trap game against the Titans. I think Amy Adams-Stank got the football and they made a big deal about that. 2023, CJ Stroud. Texans coming off a bye. Carolina Panthers hadn't won a game. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was doing his victory lap. Texans lose to the dog-butted Carolina Panthers who hadn't won a game all year long. 2021, this one's the most similar to what the Texans are looking at. This was a 1-win Texans team in week 11. We're talking about a 1-win Titans team in week 11. The Texans were coming off of a bye. The Titans are coming off of a bye. Titans were a 10.5-point favorite, and the Texans were able to go beat the Titans in an ugly-ass game with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. Probably the same things coming out of Tennessee that you're hearing out of Houston right now. And quite frankly, to be quite frank, this Texans team isn't good as that Titans team who dropped that game. So there's always a danger when it comes to the NFL. There's a reason survivor pools don't last that long. There's always a danger when it comes to just chalking stuff up. 5-5 has been what we've talked about since after week 2, but it's not a given. It's damn sure not a given. And quite frankly, the path to it has looked a lot different because of the way things have bounced. The other factor that I think needs to be mentioned when it comes to this is, yes, the Texans defense, it's hard to imagine them wetting the bed and doing what it would take to lose to the Titans. People were probably saying that in 2021. They were probably saying that last year. They were saying about the Titans in 2021. They're saying about the Texans in 2024. But here's the other thing that I do think matters. I don't think the Texans, there are too many teams when it comes to the Texans where the Texans 100% unequivocally get that team's best effort. I don't think that happens very often. I think there are teams where that happens. I think the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Chiefs, Baltimore, like they always get teams' best efforts. Let's just be honest. I make a living talking about the Texans. I've been talking about the Texans for a long time. But that doesn't happen except when the Titans come to town. The way that the Titans acted last year when they won that game, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl. They gave their owner the game ball. She was crying. Her dad used to own the Oilers. He left town. And if there's anything that the Titans owner, Amy Adams-Stank, if there's anything that she likes more than anything, it is beating the Houston Texans. And last year, her players seemed to embrace it. Jeffrey Simmons was getting emotional, talking about, yeah, we won this one for Miss Amy. It was an absolute weird display, but there is that element, and they are coming off of a bye. And a lot of times when not much is going on for you during a season, sometimes you just look for some sort of motivation and something to give you some form of excitement. And the Titans are that team. They're not going to sleep on the Texans. If they're going to give up on the season, that's fine, but they're not able to do it against the Texans. Amy Adams-Stank has an obsession, and they know it. So you've got to keep a really close eye on that as well. Am I betting on the Titans to win? Hell no. Do I feel comfortable if I'm a betting man? If given 7 points with the Texans? No, I feel like this could be a letdown. Whether it's Davis Mills or CJ Stroud, I still don't have confidence in this offense. With what we saw with Davis Mills, there's a reason I say CJ Stroud's still the starter. That would be the best performance that we see. We've seen this offense with CJ Stroud. There's been some struggles, and he is coming off of the concussion, and we don't know whether we're going to see him or not. Now, we'll probably get some hints tomorrow as to whether that happens, but we don't know what CJ Stroud's going to look like when he gets back. This is now for CJ Stroud. This is the second time that he's had a concussion. How is he going to be able to handle this? I mean, mentally, for a football player, it's got to be kind of tough when you have a concussion and you've had 2 and 3 years and you've missed a few games because of it. We already saw kind of a hesitation by CJ Stroud to run the ball. Quite frankly, the slide didn't look like someone who was comfortable running the ball. There's been a lot of opportunities. Do we see CJ Stroud even more hesitant to run the football now that he's had a concussion? Do we see some sort of mental block? There's been a lot of talk, and even the biggest CJ Stroud defenders have said, well, he's kind of shot. He's lost confidence in the offensive line. He's lost confidence in Nick Caley. He's lost confidence in whatever. And a lot of times we look at him on the sidelines, he's kind of shell-shocked. Does that improve after you have your second concussion? I'm asking in a serious manner. I'm going to be observing this as close as anyone. Eventually, you're going to have to figure it out. This is why these guys get paid the big bucks. This is why they're one of one. CJ Stroud often talks about the man in the arena. He is that. We are not. But we are human beings, and we do observe what's going on with CJ Stroud. And I just don't know that getting a concussion makes that go smoother. Like the improvements that you were hoping would happen on offense, does that happen after a concussion? Because some of the stuff that you wanted to see, I don't know that you see that after the concussion. So we've got to keep an eye on that when it comes to CJ Stroud when he comes back. If we look at CJ Stroud's career when he's come back from concussions or when he's had extended rest, I'll lay that out for you in a second. But first, I do want to remind many of you, and many of you already said you're coming out. I want you to join SNL live at Spanky Sharpstown this Friday. We'll be there this Friday. We'll be there next Friday. We'll be there this Friday to preview the Titans, and we'll probably go 2-piece with Buffalo too. And then the day after the Buffalo game, we're going to be back. So we're doing a back-to-back at Spanky's. I know a lot of you people, I do mean you people, you've enjoyed it. The fresh dough, the fresh sauces, the fresh drinks, the happy hour prices, the normal hour prices, all that. 3 o'clock this Friday, 3 o'clock next Friday. Join us. It's going to be a fun time. And there's definitely a buzz around here. I know D'Amico kind of said last week, 2 weeks ago, it was either last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember, the whiny, people thrive off of negativity. I think D'Amico forgets this is a pretty soft media market. And I'm not trying to rehash this. I'm making a point. This is a pretty soft media market, relatively speaking. He gets his ass kissed more than anyone, deservedly so for a lot of the stuff. But the difference between the fan bases here and the fan bases in other areas is they'll quit on you, man. They'll quit on you. I'm not saying what's right. I'm not saying what's wrong. There's still some diehards. But when you look in the seats, when the Texans just hit rock bottom or they top out, they'll quit on you. They won't show up. There won't be much interest. These news organizations, all these news organizations, it's one of the most piss poor things that goes on in this town. They'll stop sending people. They'll decide to go cover Astros, Rockets, whatever. Some of them don't even have like dedicated stuff. The Houston Chronicle doesn't even have a columnist. So they'll quit on you. But there's a buzz right now with this Texans team. I'm not sitting here saying it's, the peak of the D'Amico era or the peak of the Kubiak era, but there's a buzz. Ever since the Texans won, between this channel and between SNL, over a year and a quarter now of listening time. A lot of people talk views. A lot of people buy subscribers. You see some of the channels that have subscribers that just aren't proportional to the actual quality. But a year and a quarter in 3 episodes of listening time, hours combined, a year and a quarter. There is a buzz here. And the Texans do have that buzz right now when it comes to the excitement of the fan base. We're going to be here no matter what, but other people will quit. It happens. A lot of times you got to develop the assets, but there is a buzz, and these next 10 days are going to decide a lot. Now, when will we see CJ Stroud is the question, and what will he look like? Now, we've talked about the concussion factor and all that type of stuff, but here is the CJ Stroud after bye weeks and after a week plus off numbers. So in CJ Stroud's career after bye weeks, he is 1-2. 1-2 in bye weeks. The only win came last year against Miami. This year they had the loss against Seattle and then the previously mentioned loss against Carolina. So that's when he has a bye week. With a week plus off, he's 2-2. And that one was the last time that he came back after a concussion. Now, it should be mentioned that the last time that CJ Stroud had a concussion, he came back against the Titans and he went 24 of 32 for 213 yards at TD, and they got the dub against the Titans. And the next week was the winner go home against the Colts, and he handled his business there. So he's come back from the concussion and looks solid. The only thing is it was after missing 2 games. Now, if he only misses 2 games this time, then instead of the 21 days difference, it's going to be 18 because they play Thursday against Buffalo. That might not be a decision that they make. That might be part of the protocol where he's not ready to go. So the point is, we have 4 examples of CJ Stroud getting 1+ week off, and we have 1 example of CJ Stroud coming back from a concussion. And that's what it looks like on that. Let's go to the chat real quick. Cam says they just need to move the stadium already. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I would not mind them moving the stadium at all. Would not be a problem for me. I think they need to move as far away from downtown as possible. Not great, to say the least. But we'll get a look at whether or not CJ can go and whether or not the Texans are going to get trapped. The offensive line is something else to keep an eye on. Titus Howard, like when it comes to the protocol, that's really the name you need to see, because I don't know that Trent Brown is going to be able to go once things clear up and with the foot, but I'm probably not the guy to ask about Trent Brown being able to go, but he's definitely. Trent Brown will 100% be on the injury report tomorrow. Like there's zero doubt on that. He will be on the injury report. Will he be on the practice field? I don't know. I think I'm sensing that there will probably be some veteran days between the Schultzes, the Stingleys, the Trent Browns now, maybe even Will Anderson. There's going to start to be veteran days. And Wednesday practice reports, the only reason that they're kind of relevant is they kind of show you new injuries. But as far as some guys that sit out, it's not really the injury report that you look at and try to make much out of. So we'll see that. We'll hear from Nick Caley tomorrow either. I don't think anyone really trusts that. Little Jesus says about the Trent Brown, who's drinking what again? I don't have to drink anything. We didn't do a drink bet. It's an eating bet with me and Cody Stoots. So next Tuesday on SNL, I have to eat when he was at his fattest fast food order, like just a typical one. I actually think he was pretty generous to me because I've seen some of the orders, but I just have to eat a double meat, double cheese, a large fry, a large onion ring, and the all-time favorite of my choice, and a large drink during the stream. So I'm probably going to go with the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich with the double, the fries, and the onion rings. So that was that. Cody would have had to not eat for 24 hours. That's way harder, but that was the bet. The bet was if Trent Brown played over 35 snaps, Cody couldn't eat for 24 hours. But yeah, some people say this sounds like a reward. I'm not too upset about it. I'll be honest. I'm not too upset by having to eat this. I got to get the ketchup. I'll just be right there, but I think it'll be fine. But I do think for the people to make it a more fun viewing, I'm going to go around the locker room starting tomorrow, and I'm going to ask the big guys to give me their when I was at my fattest or when I ate my worst stories, like as far as picking out and just seeing what they say, so that we can play that during the episode. So we're going to try to get some creative stuff going on in that. So it'll be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. 21 Savage says he's disappointed in Stoots. I thought he could put away double that. Dude, he could. He was very nice to me. I've seen him order the triple and the meat. Yeah, he can. I think 21's going to be at Spanky's. We'll be at Spanky's. You'll see him put away double that at Spanky's this Friday. He can definitely do that. But yeah, Cody's gotten would have gotten the worst of that not being able to eat. And I don't know if you'd have been able to go with that. That would have been a little bit tough. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the meal. I think I'm just not going to eat Monday and then just pick out, and we'll see. Anything else with the Texans? Not really. The Texans are pretty well set up right now with this week. If they win, like with all the talk about the trap, if they win, I mean, the playoff picture is going to look really nice above them. It's going to look really nice above them, and it is a massive opportunity. The 5-5 thing is there. The 5-5 thing is there. This isn't a new thing that we just put together. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. The 5-5 thing is there, and they have it right in front of them. The question is CJ Stroud going to be a part of it? Is Davis Mills going to be a part of it? That's really what we're watching tomorrow when we go to practice. So practice is going to be at 12:45. Press conferences with Nick Caley coming off maybe his best performance of the year. Frank Ross coming off the most piss-poor, pathetic performance that we've seen from his special teams unit. They tried to end the season basically single-handedly. We'll talk to him, and then Matt Burke, who will be holding it down for D'Amico as he's at the press conference. So it's going to be a really, 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 really interesting Wednesday. It's going to be a really, really, really interesting week. It's going to be a really interesting 10 days. We got 2 games in 10 days and a hell of a lot to happen. And the Buffalo game looks different. Tennessee game looks about the same. The bye week, the trap, the history. We do got to keep an eye on that though as well. Other thing that I keep an eye on is my Texans turf. Shout out to Texans turf for the great things they do. Dan the man. Neighbors are jealous because they're sitting outside working on their yard. I got the best looking yard on the block. My house value has increased, and I got the turf without putting up with the BS. Now, I put up with the BS when I shopped around, but I found the right guy. I got the drainage customized there, always green, always clean. And there's new customers that are reaching out to me consistently that went with Dan, and they do not regret it. Doesn't matter if you live in a small house. Doesn't matter if you live in a big house. They got you covered. You want the putting green. You want the playing surface. They got you covered. Let Texans turf do for you what they did for me. Always green, always clean. Best thing I did for the crib. We have no idea what's up with Fairbairn. I think it's a really, 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 really interesting thing to check out with Fairbairn. I don't know. He gets hurt a lot. He gets hurt a lot. So how long will that be? Something to keep an eye on. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. It's the off day, so the off day episode's always a little bit shorter. We'll be back to normal tomorrow. Appreciate the people. One year in just 3 episodes of watch time. That's what it's all about. See y'all at Spanky's on Friday. I'll give you the practice updates tomorrow. Follow along. SNL live at 4 o'clock. We'll let you know everything you need to know. Remember, no CJ Stroud tomorrow. Don't make too much of it. This was planned. It's because D'Amico's at a funeral. Subscribe, like, ride along, download the Sleeper app, play the best daily fantasy, and use it as your scoring app. You will not regret it. And always remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1.